Hey folks, this is a bit of a help me out if you will. Excuse me. Help me out if you will video in the comments, please. This is touching upon what I'm going to be doing, and what I'd like to do is the what I like about. It might be a series, it might be just a one type deal. We'll see. Sitting out here in the lovely greenery of the squirrel den, the nest. I'm going to just lightly touch upon some different games that have stayed to the shelf after my clearing. Yeah, so in the comments you want something a little more in-depth going through this, please speak up, help me out. I'll do a live series or a live coverage so I can interact with folks, any questions and comments and such. And these are by no means in any particular order. I just have a handful, and I'm going to go through some light notes. Nothing in depth, no page numbers or anything yet. Because, it all depends on what folks are interested in. I appreciate the liking, the subscribing, the commenting by all. Thank you. I know my output is terse at best, but when the mood strikes, the inspiration hits. And yeah, my laptop, it is now good to be used, but I'm just sitting out back using my phone. It might rain, so. And I want to, lightly touch upon this stuff before I get any more in-depth with folks. All right, let's see here. What do we got? Oh, yes. What I like about Hackmaster. Not the 4th edition, which is their 1st edition, if anybody knows, but the newer edition, which is rather old. Some call it the 5th edition. But nonetheless, I really enjoy how they handle the attribute increase. The attributes are rolled 3d6. Standard array. I think they have looks in there. And the attributes do more than just one thing usually than what the common or standard games do. I like the attribute increase. You roll your 3d6, then you roll a percentile for every attribute except for one of them. And that percentile represents how close you are to actually increasing the attribute. Example, dexterity 14/38%. 38% represents you are 38% out of 100 making that dexterity go up on that 3-die-6 roll, on the actual, applicable number. And you do that, you get that when you level up. It's a level game. It has levels and classes. I really like that. That's kind of neat. And I don't know, it's just neat. It's something you could even house rule into a handful of the other games that are played using a 3d6 array, a non-percentile attribute rules. Another thing here, initiative and the count. That, a lot of folks, it seems complex, seems cumbersome. But when you sit down and chew on it and think about it, it's amazingly intuitive. Everything is done in seconds. So you count up, the DM would count up. The initiative is, I like it, you want a low number because you want to act fast. You want to act quickly. That's nice. Makes sense, especially when you're counting up from 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Clerical anointment. They have so many different clerics and so many different clerical spell lists. It's actually pretty cool. And no two clerics are the same. The different faiths are different. The spell, the prayers, the spells they get are different, which is nice. But touching on the clerical anointment, it could be an NPC as well, but if another character in the group chooses to become anointed by a NPC cleric or PC cleric, anointed by their faith, certain of the spells cast by a cleric of that faith have more effectiveness on said anointed character, PC or NPC. So healing's a little more potent, and a handful of other things are a little more better. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, phalanx fighting for fighters. Superb. If you have 2 fighters in a party and they choose to do a combat, I don't think it's called a maneuver, but in combat they choose phalanx fighting and work together. Wow. Really good. Really turns the volume up on your sword and board type character, especially if there's 2 of you working together. I like the armor as DR. So you do get a defensive role in combat. That's nice. And then there's also the knockback and TOP, threshold of pain. Those are nifty. Those are really nifty. You get hit X amount of damage, and if it's over a certain threshold, you're knocked back X amount of feet. And if you get hit and X amount of damage exceeds your threshold of pain number by the amount that it's exceeded by, let's say my threshold of pain number is 17 and I get hit for 21. The difference would be, obviously 4. You are basically, we used to call it pulling the Peter Griffin, the episode where he hits his shin and he just sits there and forever, and it's kind of starts to get ludicrous and funny. Well, it's similar to that. That difference of 4, I believe, I don't have the books in front of me, I believe it's every count every. It would be 4 seconds, and that can be a lot. That could be a lot when you're counting up on their how they work combat. Really fun. Next one would be I do enjoy Harn Master. I like I like their alignment. It's a morality. It's called morality, and you can choose what your morality would be on their range, their scale, or you can roll, and it's just a 3d6 roll, and then you see where it falls. And the one thing I do enjoy about it is you're not necessarily penalized for acting against or out of alignment, especially if you roll an alignment that you don't envision your character's direction, what you would like. You're encouraged, you can change your alignment through actions and character growth. I like that. I like the skill increase in Harn Master. It's a percentile based system. Every in-game 30 days you get X amount of points to put into skills, and they increase. It's also suggested that the more you use a certain skill or skills, the more of a bit of extra bonus points you can get to put into those skills. Armor as DR, again, love it. They do have a robust hit location system, which, yeah, it's nice. I don't mind it. Don't love it, don't hate it. And their attribute array. I mean, you got eyesight, sense of smell, hearing, your voice, plus the other commonly used attributes, and a few others in there that are really, really nice. And they all do go with certain skills. They do matter. Another one, the Burning Wheel. Listen, if you folks haven't read the Burning Wheel, get it, read it. It is food for thought, period. Whether you ever play it or not. Man, is it jam-packed with just... I could say insight in a way, but it is nice. I suggest reading it and soaking it in. It's a dice pool system. Just throwing it out there. They have a thing called Forks, feature of related knowledges, Forks. The skills. It's got a robust skill list. It's interesting how some of the skills can tie in with others and give applicable insights and bonuses. It makes sense. It's nothing too far-fetched. It's got a life path system, so before your character begins adventuring, you pick 2 or 3 different life paths, careers, jobs, whatever. But even though it's more of a medieval type setting, implied setting, rule set, and those add years to your starting age, and those life paths grant you access to skills and access to different life paths, and I like it. I like it. It's not like what was that one? Traveler, where you could die, which that's always kind of fun, but it's neat. It's neat. The skill increase is neat as well. It's a little more bookkeeping on the player's part. X amount of failures combined with X amount of successes on a skill gives you a chance to increase it. Which, that makes sense. You learn from your failures as well as you do your successes. Most likely, A lot of times even more from failures. But and then they have for the three. Well, there's 4 races presented in the book: human, elf, dwarf, and orc. They have again, another thing that's a little more bookkeeping on the player's part, and DM. I mean, cooperative. There's grief for the elf. And depending on the certain situations and stories, and however the adventure or campaign is going, elves, they have a limit, a grief limit. Once they've seen so much death and hatred, destruction, all that loss of life, because they're effectively immortal in this game, they basically retire. They say, I'm out, I'm done. I've seen enough, I've had enough. I'm over it. They have greed for dwarves. Eventually, they reach their threshold. They basically, I'm done going back to the mines. I'm going to get more loot, get more gold, mithril, silver, etc., etc. And then hatred with the orc race. Once they reach their threshold, they just kind of fade out of any type of interaction with the other of the races and just join a war band and do what we stereotypically recognize orcs to do: pillage, plunder, kill, destroy, etc. Troika. There's a thing in there, it's called the stack. It's a way they do initiative. That's neat, especially if you're doing a rules light type game. It's neat. It's really neat. We use it in our OSE games. The players love it. They don't mind. I mean, if you're going sticking more hardcore to the rules, it can kind of seem to screw over mages, and everybody at times, but at other times it's a boon. It's fun, especially if you're just doing something light and nothing too gritty or serious. Rules serious, that is. And then, let's see, Palladium. I like the EXP system. I like the different classes get different XP targets to level up. And I also like the how they award the different XP. It's you get some for combat, defeating enemies, threats, but there's a lot in there that doesn't involve combat. It's, quick thinking, doing beneficial actions and etc. to the goal of the story, the campaign, the party, and or just the character. I like their alignment. The alignment, it's one of the, I'd say personally, it's neck and neck with Harnmaster. You don't roll it. It's not a morality type thing, but it's just laid out and explained a little bit more clearly than most other systems I've come across. Neoclassical Geek Revival. Pie. The Pie. It's an oddball rule set and system. You can multi-class in a fashion, and there's three slices, of a pie, just consider it a circle, that you can have up to, unless you choose not to multi-class and you stay focused in that class, then you get the fourth slice, the coveted slice. And man, is there some kick butt boons, bonuses, abilities, I forget what they're called, if you just stick to the fighter or the magic user or and I'm using generic terms, I think they call them a little bit different, but I like that. That was really neat and interesting. The Black Company. That was put out by Green Ronin way back in the day. Setting and whatnot's based on the books, and it was put out well before all the books were done, finished. I don't know if he's completely finished with the series or not. It's been quite some time, but before all that bull crap, all this other nonsense was out and about. So I kept it. It's got some few neat ideas, few neat rules. The weapon item qualities, they're non-magical. It's based on craftsmanship. There's, let's say you have a sword and you have it crafted to be, menacing looking or nasty looking, painful looking or whatever, how you would describe it. You can get a bonus on your intimidation, without just holding it to some enemy's throat. You just take it out, sit it on your lap, start polishing or sharpening it, and while you're doing an intimidation, that gives you a little bonus. There's many others, but that's really neat. I like that, and it's non-magical. And I like the magic system and the rules. It's you create your own spells, and it's skill based, even though it's like I said, 3/5 OGL, D20. So you have your skill ranks or whatever. But it's really neat. You can be creative with it, inventive with it, and you can really power up some spells. You can concentrate them on longer than what anyone's familiar with the 3/5 rules, and really give certain spells a wallop, an extra whammo. So yeah, that's just touching on it lightly. I appreciate everyone sticking around, subscribing, liking, spreading the nerd word, commenting. And like I said, please throw in some comments. I would love to do a live thing with some folks and just blab about these and go into a little more of a deeper coverage. I hope everyone had a blessed Memorial Day. I hope everyone's having a blessed day today, tomorrow, the day after, etc. Again, I appreciate all you folks. Thank you for being around, checking my stuff out. And yeah, I'm out of here. I'll let you guys view this video after I get it whooped up, put together, and stitched together, and comment, and etc. Robust blessings to all.